I make $150,000 a year and I can't afford a house. Not because I'm bad with money, because the math doesn't work anymore. Let me show you. Right now, open Zillow in any major city. Set your max price to $300,000. Nothing, right? Maybe a condo, maybe a teardown. That's the problem. 150 salary. Sounds great. After taxes, health insurance, 401k. 7,900 a month take home. 25% of that is 1975. That's my safe housing budget. At 7% interest with 20% down, that buys me a 290 house. Go back to Zillow. Find me a livable house at 290. You can't. Cheapest actual home? 450 minimum. To afford that 450 house, I'd need to make 280,000 a year. Not 150, 280. I'm 130 short. And I make more than 90% of Americans. So if I can't do it, you definitely can't. This isn't a you problem. This is a math problem. And the math broke 5 years ago. 2020. Median home in my area was 320. Today, 510. 60% up. My salary, 18% up. 60 versus 18. The gap isn't closing. It's widening. National numbers are the same. Home prices up 40%. Wages up 15%. The American dream didn't die. It just became unaffordable. And nobody's saying it out loud. 4 types of people are buying right now. People who bought before 2019. People whose parents gave them the down payment. Dual income households making over $200,000, and people willing to be house poor. That's it. Everyone else is renting or drowning. Here's what the bank doesn't tell you. When they approve you for a mortgage, they're calculating the maximum stress you can survive without defaulting, not what you can afford, what keeps you paying. They see my 150 and approve me for 420. I could get that loan tomorrow. But one car repair, one medical bill, one anything, and I'm cooked. The bank gets paid either way, so they don't care. My dad bought his house in 95, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, paid 110. His salary? 48,000. House cost 2.3 times his income. That same house today, worth 480. My 150 salary? House costs 3.2 times my income. The ratio doesn't work anymore. And they keep telling us to budget better. Skip the avocado toast. That's not the problem. The problem is houses cost 6 times what wages support. Everyone says wait for the crash. Wait for rates to drop. But what if they don't? What if this is just the new normal? What if everyone who bought before 2018 got in right before the door closed? Waiting for a rescue that might not come isn't a strategy. You need a plan based on what's real right now. And what's real is most of us are priced out. You have 3 options. 1. Move to a city where 290 still buys a house. Those cities exist, but you have to be willing to leave. 2. Rent and invest the difference, because being house poor is worse than renting. 3. Double your income, not get a raise, double it. Start a business, switch industries, hit that 200K range where the math works. There's no option 4. The math is the math. I grew up thinking 6 figures meant you made it. Hit 100K and you could buy a house, raise a family, live comfortably. That was the deal, but that deal expired. 150 isn't enough anymore, and the hardest part was realizing I did everything right. Got the degree, built the career, saved money, lived below my means, and it still wasn't enough. Not because I failed, because the finish line moved while I was running toward it. So if you're sitting there feeling like you're failing, you're not. If you think you're not working hard enough, that's not it. You didn't break the system. The system broke itself, and it's okay to be angry about that. When your parents bought a house on 1 income with no degree, and you can't buy one with 2 incomes and degrees, that's not a you problem. That's a generational scam. This might not get fixed. The government isn't coming to save you. The market might not crash. This might just be what housing costs now, forever. And once you accept that, you can actually start building a plan that works. Maybe that plan is moving. Maybe it's investing. Maybe it's doubling your income. but it has to be based on reality, not hope, not what your parents did. Reality. And reality is most of us can't afford these houses. So here's what I decided. I'm not going to destroy my finances for a participation trophy. I'm not going to be house poor just to say I own a home. I'm going to keep my freedom, invest my money, and wait until the math makes sense for me. Not for the bank, not for society, for me. And if that means renting longer, fine. If that means moving, fine. If that means doing something completely different, fine. Because the goal isn't homeownership. The goal is financial freedom. And those two things aren't the same anymore. So there it is. I make $150,000 a year, and I can't afford a house without wrecking my life. And if I can't, most people can't. That's not my opinion. That's math. And math doesn't lie. The system is broken. Stop blaming yourself for it, and start making decisions based on what's actually real.